Welcome back, fellow Taoists, to the 1991 Review Channel. This is a channel dedicated to reviewing and analyzing Chinese animated series, Donghua. If this is your first time visiting the channel, please give me a like and subscribe. In previous videos, I've covered the top 10 masters of the Scattered Star Seas. As for the Heavenly South region, Han Li's homeland, it is often compared to the Scattered Star Seas. Therefore, in this video, I will join you, my fellow Taoists, to discuss the 10 great cultivators of the Heavenly South. Of course, this is just my personal opinion. If you have different views, please feel free to discuss them in the comments section. Without further ado, let's get started. Top 10. Yun Lu, the effeminate cauldron and his complicated fate in a record of a mortal's journey to immortality. The cultivation world in a record of a mortal's journey to immortality is not only filled with brilliant protagonists like Han Li, but is also adorned with a myriad of distinctive supporting characters, each with their own destiny. During the Heavenly South arc, one of the characters who leaves a deep impression despite his brief appearance is Yun Lu, the nascent soul cultivator from the Joyful Union sect. Yun Lu is neither a simple villain nor a reluctant ally, but rather a complex portrait of the conflict between one's nature, cultivation, and fate, identity and background, pressure beneath the shadow of a demonic path. Yun Lu hails from the Joyful Union sect, one of the leading demonic sects in the Heavenly South, and possesses a respectable mid-nascent soul stage cultivation. His position is further solidified by being the junior brother of Old Devil Huan, one of the 3 most powerful grand cultivators in the region. However, instead of being a source of stable support, this relationship is the very origin of his tragedy. Living under the shadow of a cunning and ruthless senior brother, Yun Lu, despite his profound cultivation, is merely a pawn in another's hands. The Yin-Yang Cauldron, a uniqueness that forges tragedy. The most special feature that creates Yun Lu's uniqueness and his tragedy is his innate physique, the Yin-Yang body. With a handsome yet effeminate androgynous appearance, his body becomes a perfect cauldron for dual cultivation, capable of nourishing both men and women. To fully exploit this physique, Yun Lu cultivates a heretical plundering art, which specializes in absorbing the essence and cultivation of others to enhance his own power. This turns him into a fearsome predator in the cultivation world, where anyone can become his target to be plundered. However, this special constitution also turns him into a treasure coveted and exploited by others. Chief among them is senior brother, Old Devil Huan. The ironic relationship with Han Li, the fates of Yun Lu and protagonist Han Li, intersect in a most ironic way. During the Great War against the Milan tribe, being forced by his senior brother to participate in a life-or-death battle, Yun Lu found himself in a precarious situation and was rescued by Han Li. This life-saving grace placed Yun Lu in an awkward position. The complexity escalates when his daughter, Dong Xian'er, falls in love with Han Li. As a father, Yun Lu is indebted to Han Li for saving his life. Yet he thoroughly dislikes a man who could potentially become his son-in-law. Their relationship becomes subtle and peculiar, a mixture of gratitude, annoyance, and a dilemma with no easy way out, creating some truly interesting scenes. A faint conclusion, a fate already sealed. Despite being a nascent soul cultivator, Yun Lu lacks the autonomy of a true expert. He is manipulated by his senior brother, dragged into unwanted wars, and ultimately, after his role in the relationship with Han Li concludes, his character gradually fades and disappears from the story's flow. This conclusion serves as a confirmation of his fate, a pawn that has outlived its usefulness, a supporting character who has fulfilled his role of setting the stage with protagonists and grander events. Overall assessment. Yun Lu is a prime example of how to build a supporting character with depth in a record of a mortal's journey to immortality. He is neither a hero nor a pure villain. He is both a predator with a heretical cultivation technique and a victim of fate and manipulation. Through Yun Lu, the author successfully portrays the cruelty and complexity of the demonic path, a world where even a powerful nascent soul expert cannot decide their own destiny. Top 9. Marquis Nanlong, the ambitious guide and his tragic demise. In the vast world or record of a mortal's journey to immortality, Marquis Nanlong emerges as a pivotal supporting character during Han Li's early stages in the Heavenly South region. Belonging to neither the righteous nor the demonic path, he is a rogue cultivator distinguished by his noble status and formidable strength, the one who opened the door to some of the most crucial ancient secrets for Han Li. Despite his tragic end, Marquis Nanlong leaves a lasting impression as a guide full of ambition and calculation, a special status and superior strength. Marquis Nanlong's greatest asset comes from his prestigious lineage. He is a direct descendant of exalted Song Kuan, the #1 cultivator of the Heavenly South in ancient times. This not only granted him the noble title of Marquis, but also endowed him with knowledge of earth-shattering secrets that his contemporaries could never access. Marquis Nanlong's power is demonstrated through a solid mid-nascent soul stage cultivation base, and most notably, a spiritual sense that far surpasses his peers. It was this very ability that allowed him to recognize Han Li's extraordinary nature from their first meeting, leading to a deliberate contest to find a partner strong enough for his grand plan. Although the story does not specify his cultivation art, the fact that he was always accompanied by many concubines suggests he likely practiced a form of dual cultivation as a supplement, a guide to opportunities and cunning calculations. Marquis Nanlong served as a crucial catalyst for Han Li's turning point. He was a mastermind behind the expedition into Exalted Song Kuan's cultivation cave, which unlocked destiny-changing opportunities for Han Li, such as meeting Silver Moon and obtaining the remnant map of the Void Heaven Palace. Throughout these events, Marquis Nanlong consistently proved himself to be intelligent, decisive, and an expert strategist. From testing Han Li's spiritual sense to assembling a team to enter Forbidden Land, all his actions had a clear purpose. However, the suspicious and self-serving nature of a cultivator was ever present. Inside the cave, once treasures appeared, the alliance quickly shattered, showing his readiness to turn on others for his own benefit. A tragic death born from greed. The end of Marquis Nanlong is a classic cautionary tale in the ruthless world of cultivation. Greed and overconfidence led him to Devilfall Valley and into the trap of an ancient blood devil. His possession and transformation into an enemy's puppet was an ironic and tragic death for a character who had always been confident in his own calculations. He did not die because his strength was lacking, but because he underestimated the dangers that come with opportunity and the greed within himself. In conclusion, Marquis Nanlong is an excellently crafted supporting character. He is both the bearer of great opportunities for the protagonist and the embodiment of a typical cultivator, intelligent, ambitious, always weighing pros and cons, and ultimately falling due to his own ambition. Though he only appeared for a short period, his role in advancing the plot and unveiling major mysteries is undeniable. Top 8. Dongmen 2. Dongmen 2 is an elder of the spirit-controlling sect, one of the 6 demonic sects of the Heavenly South. This sect is renowned for its secret arts of controlling, nurturing, and refining various spirit beasts, spirit insects, and even other unique creatures. His cultivation level is mid-nascent soul stage. Cultivation technique and special ability. The 5 elements spirit infants. The most unique feature, and also the most powerful trump card Dongmen 2, is his ability to refine and control the 5 element spirit infants. What are the 5 element spirit infants? These are 5 small humanoid creatures, similar to nascent souls, refined from extremely rare heavenly and earthly treasures corresponding to 5 elements: metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. They possess a high level of intelligence and wield potent spiritual abilities related to their respective attributes. Origin. The 5 element spirit infants are foundational treasure of the spirit-controlling sect, passed down from one generation to the next. Power. When the 5 spirit infants combine their strength, they can generate an incredibly powerful 5-color divine light, strong enough to contend with a late-nascent soul stage cultivator. This is why Dongmen 2, despite only being at the mid-nascent soul stage, hold a very high status and is regarded with caution by other cultivators. The relationship between Dongmen 2 and Han Li originates from one of the 5 element spirit infants, the Supreme Wood Spirit Infant. Han Li captures the Supreme Wood Spirit Infant. Before arriving at Soaring Heaven City, Han Li coincidentally captured the Supreme Wood Spirit Infant, also known as a Purple Spirit Infant, while it was on the run. Unaware of its origins, Han Li only kept it for research because he found it peculiar. Dongmen 2's suspicion. With one of the infants missing, the power of the 5 element spirit infants was greatly diminished. Consequently, the spirit-controlling sect in Dongmen 2 expended considerable effort to track it down. Upon meeting Han Li at the Great Assembly in Soaring Heaven City, Dongmen 2 vaguely sensed the aura of the Supreme Wood Spirit Infant on Han Li. Confrontation and probing. Despite his suspicions, Dongmen 2 had no proof and could not openly confront a fellow nascent soul cultivator, like Han Li. He could only resort to probing tactics and applying pressure, all of which were cleverly neutralized by Han Li. This demonstrated Dongmen 2's cautious and somewhat wary nature. Dongmen 2 played a significant role in the events of Devilfall Valley. Entering Devilfall Valley, he entered Devilfall Valley with his sect members in search of opportunities. Facing the Blood Fiend. When the seal on the ancient demon, the Blood Fiend, was broken, Dongmen 2 attempted to fight it, but was quickly overwhelmed. Seeing the dire situation, his 2 remaining spirit infants, Metal and Earth, immediately fled, showcasing their high intelligence. Assisting Han Li. Later, during the great battle between Han Li and the Blood Fiend, Dongmen 2 intervened to help Han Li by holding back the Blood Fiend for a brief moment. This action created a precious opportunity for Han Li to successfully set up the Great Gung Sword Formation, which was instrumental in heavily wounding the Blood Fiend. This can be seen as an act of prioritizing the greater good. Dongmen 2 is a rather typical character for a demonic sect elder. He possesses strength, is calculating, and acts with caution, yet he is not without decisiveness. He is not a purely evil individual. His actions are primarily motivated by his own interests and those of his sect. Although a supporting character, Dongmen 2 helped to highlight the uniqueness of the Supreme Wood Spirit Infant, which would later become one of Han Li's 5 extreme spirit infants. Additionally, his actions in Devilfall Valley demonstrated the complexity of relationships between cultivators when facing a common, catastrophic threat. Outcome: after the Devilfall Valley incident, the character Dongmen 2 no longer appears, and his subsequent fate is not mentioned in the story. Top 7. Zenith Soul. Zenith Soul is the Great Elder of the Ghost Spirit Sect. This is the highest position, wielding immense actual power within the sect. The Ghost Spirit Sect is one of the 6 great demonic sects of the Heavenly South, renowned for its heretical cultivation arts, specializing in the Ghost Dao, Nether Souls, and spiritual sense. Cultivation level: peak of the mid-nascent soul stage. At the time of his appearance, his cultivation level was among the top in the Heavenly South, second only to the 3 grand cultivators, late nascent soul stage. Cultivation technique and special ability: 9 twist spirit soul. The most fearsome aspect of Zenith Soul, and what made his name, is his incredibly domineering soul cultivation technique. His main technique is the 9 twist spirit soul or 9 soul secret art. This is a secret art that specializes in directly attacking an opponent's spiritual soul, instead of attacking the physical body. This technique bypasses physical defenses and conventional magic treasures, directly inflicting severe damage on the enemy's nascent soul and sea of consciousness. Thanks to this technique, despite only being at the mid-nascent soul stage, Zenith Soul could easily defeat or even kill cultivators at the same level. Even late-nascent soul stage cultivators had to be wary when facing his soul attacks. It can be said that in terms of spiritual soul attacks, he was the foremost expert in the Heavenly South. Zenith Soul and Han Li were initially enemies, stemming from an event in the past. Before advancing to the nascent soul stage, Han Li had annihilated a group of Ghost Spirit Sect cultivators, including Wang Tiangu and his disciples, to seize the soul-summoning beast. These individuals were close subordinates under Zenith Soul's command. Due to the death of his disciples, Zenith Soul was enraged and issued a manhunt for the culprit for many years without success, as Han Li was in the Scattered Star Seas at the time. The two officially met at the Heavenly South Nascent Soul Assembly, which was convened to deal with the invasion of the Milan tribe. Here, Zenith Soul recognized Han Li as the enemy from years ago, but due to the greater situation and the presence of too many other masters, he had to temporarily set aside their feud. During the Great War against the Milan Spell Warriors, Zenith Soul played an important but also rather unlucky role. To encourage masters to participate in the most dangerous life and death battle, Wei Wuya gifted Zenith Soul a precious magic treasure. For the sake of this treasure, he agreed to join the battle. During the fight, Zenith Soul, along with Yun Lu of the Joyful Union sect, was trapped in a grand formation by a Milan Grand Scholar. Despite his formidable strength, he could not break the formation on his own and fell into a perilous situation. At the critical moment, Han Li commanded a squad of flood dragons and used his gold-devouring beetles to break the grand formation, rescuing both Zenith Soul and Yun Lu. Having been saved by Han Li, although unwilling in his heart, Zenith Soul had to accept letting go of their past hatred. The feud between the two was thus resolved. Zenith Soul is a typical old devil. He possesses great strength, is ruthless, and always seeks revenge, but he also knows how to weigh pros and cons and adhere to the bigger picture when necessary. He is not a fool. He knows when to advance and when to retreat. He was initially built up to be a very powerful and fearsome figure, one of Han Li's greatest potential enemies in the Heavenly South. However, upon his official appearance, his role was somewhat underwhelming compared to expectations, mainly serving as a foil to showcase Han Li's performance in the Great War. Zenith Soul served as a potential obstacle, creating a sense of pressure for Han Li upon his return to the Heavenly South. The fact that Han Li saved him was also a significant turning point, showing that Han Li's strength and status were now sufficient to make a top-tier old devil bow his head. After the events of the Milan War, the character Zenith Soul no longer appears, and his subsequent fate is not mentioned in the story. Top 6. Bai Fengyi. She is a rogue cultivator, not belonging to any sect or major power. The fact that a rogue cultivator could reach such a high cultivation realm shows that her aptitude and opportunities were anything but ordinary. Her real name is Lu Yi. Bai Fengyi is the Taoist title she uses in the cultivation world. She is at the peak of the mid-nascent soul stage. Her strength was ranked at the very top among the mid-nascent soul stage cultivators in the Heavenly South, second only to the 3 grand cultivators, late nascent soul stage. The most prominent aspect of Bai Fengyi's background is her deep and complex romantic relationship with exalted Zenith Yang, one of the 3 grand cultivators and the leader of the righteous Dao Alliance. The two were once Dao companions, cultivation partners, in the past. However, for a reason not clearly stated in the story, they separated. Despite this, the feelings between them remain very deep. Exalted Zenith Yang always quietly cared for and protected Bai Fengyi. Conversely, despite her cold demeanor, Bai Fengyi could not completely sever her feelings for him. This relationship is a rare touch of romance in the ruthless world of cultivation. Bai Fengyi was a character who made a significant contribution to the war against the invasion of the Mulan tribe. Later, At the Heavenly South Nascent Soul Assembly, Exalted Zenith Yang personally invited Bai Fengyi to participate in a life-and-death battle against the Milan Grand Scholars. She initially refused, but after Zenith Yang used the fate of the entire Heavenly South region to persuade her, she agreed. During the battle, she was also trapped in a grand formation by a Milan Grand Scholar, similar to Zenith Soul and Yun Lu. However, the biggest difference was that Bai Fengyi needed no one's help. She used her own absolute strength to shatter the formation and escape. This detail confirms that her power was a cut above other peak mid-nascent soul stage cultivators like Zenith Soul. After breaking the formation, she immediately joined forces with Feng Bing, the female master of the Heavenly Tao Alliance, to confront one of the four great divine masters of the Milan tribe, Tianzhong. The confrontation was at a stalemate when it was interrupted by the intervention of the Soaring tribe, forcing the Milan to retreat. Bai Fengyi is portrayed as a strong, independent, and somewhat cold and arrogant female warrior. She does not rely on anyone, not even her former lover, who is one of the three grand cultivators. However, deep down, she is still a person who values relationships and has a sense of responsibility for the greater good. She is one of the strongest mid-nascent soul stage cultivators in the Heavenly South. The act of single-handedly breaking the Milan Grand Scholars' restraining formation is the clearest proof of her superior strength. Bai Fengyi played the role of a hidden master, a crucial force for the Heavenly South side in the war. She is also a character who helps to add emotional depth to Exalted Zenith Yang, showing that even top-tier cultivators have emotional entanglements like ordinary people. After the event of the Milan War, the character Bai Fengyi no longer appears, and her subsequent fate is not mentioned in the story. It is presumed that she continued her free life as a rogue cultivator. Top 5. Old Devil Tianhen. Old Devil Tianhen was the most powerful rogue cultivator and also one of the most ambitious and formidable figures in the Heavenly South at the time of Han Li's return from the Scattered Star Seas. He is a rogue cultivator, not belonging to any sect. He is a leader of a powerful alliance of rogue cultivators in the Heavenly South. Cultivation level, peak of the mid-nascent soul stage. His combat strength is incredibly fearsome. Feng Bing of the Heavenly Tao Alliance once commented that in a one-on-one duel, neither she nor Long Han, the husband and wife leaders of the Heavenly Tao Alliance, would be a match for Old Devil Tianhen. He was recognized as a #1 master among all mid-nascent soul stage cultivators in the Heavenly South. Cultivation technique. The story does not specify the name of his cultivation technique, but he possesses extremely domineering and diverse spiritual abilities. The most outstanding testament to Old Devil Tianhen's power was his past battle with Exalted Zenith Yang, one of the three grand cultivators, at the late nascent soul stage. Although he was ultimately severely wounded and nearly died, he also made Zenith Yang struggle and suffer considerably. The fact that a mid-stage cultivator could directly confront a late-stage one was a miracle in itself, proving just how terrifying his combat prowess was. Old Devil Tianhen is an ambitious, domineering, and highly strategic hero of Chaotic Era. He was not content with his status as a rogue cultivator and always sought to build his own power base to contend for supremacy with the four great powers, the Righteous Tao Alliance, the 6 demonic Tao sects, the Heavenly Tao Alliance, and the 9 Nations Alliance. His ambition was most clearly displayed during the Great War with the Milan tribe. He not only participated in fighting the foreign invaders, but also wanted to use this opportunity to bargain with the four great powers. When the Milan tribe invaded, Old Devil Tianhen gathered a large army of rogue cultivators, becoming a force that could not be underestimated on the battlefield. He took the initiative to negotiate with the leaders of the four great powers. He proposed to lead his army on a raid into the Milan's rear, cutting off their supply lines. In return, he demanded that after the victory, the four great powers must cede a nation to him so he could establish his own power, officially stepping onto the chessboard power in the Heavenly South. Plan ruined. The four great powers agreed to his terms. However, before the plan could be implemented, the Soaring tribe suddenly intervened in the war, changing the entire situation. As a result, Old Devil Tianhen's raid plan was ruined from the very beginning. Old Devil Tianhen is a very successfully developed supporting character. He represents the archetype of hero in chaotic times, possessing great strength, ambition, and strategy, and never missing an opportunity to rise. Despite being a rogue cultivator, he dared to challenge the established order. After his plan failed during the Milan War, the character Old Devil Tianhen no longer appeared. His subsequent fate is not mentioned in the story. Old Devil Tianhen was the strongest rogue cultivator in the Heavenly South with a peak mid-nascent soul stage cultivation, had once confronted a late nascent soul stage cultivator, and harbored the ambition to divide the realm into 5. There is no character named by Tianhen Laoguai in the story. Top 4. Long Han and Feng Bing. Long Han and Feng Bing are an incredibly famous Tao companion couple who serve as pillars of strength in the Heavenly South. They are likened to the Heavenly South version of the Celestial Sound Dual Saints, renowned for their astonishing joint attack power. They are a pair of Tao companions, a married couple cultivators, who practice dual cultivation, share an extremely deep bond, and always stand side by side. Both are among the most powerful figures, acting as the leaders and cornerstones of the Heavenly Tao Alliance, one of the four great powers of the Heavenly South. Their status is equivalent to that of Exalted Zenith Yang of the Righteous Tao Alliance, or Wei Wuya of the Nine Nations Alliance. Both Long Han and Feng Bing possess cultivation at the peak of the mid-nascent soul stage. The individual strength of each is already among the top tier in the Heavenly South. Miraculous joint attack technique. The feature that made their name and constitutes their most fearsome power is a wondrous dual cultivation joint attack technique. When the two of them combine their efforts, their power skyrockets tremendously. The might of this joint attack is sufficient to contend with a late-nascent soul stage cultivator. It is thanks to this trump card that the Heavenly Tao Alliance, despite having no late-nascent soul cultivators of its own, could still stand firm and on equal footing with the other three powers, which all had late-stage grand cultivators presiding over them. They are the greatest foundation of strength and confidence for the Heavenly Tao Alliance. Long Han is described as a gentle, righteous man with a dignified air of a great master. He took the initiative to befriend and treat Han Li very well. During the Heavenly South Nascent Soul Assembly, Long Han proactively introduced Han Li to many precious cultivation resources and secrets of the cultivator world, viewing Han Li as an important ally of the Heavenly Tao Alliance. As a result, Han Li had a very good impression of him. Feng Bing's personality is described less, but through her actions, she is shown to be a strong, decisive female cultivator who is always in unison with her husband. Both played crucial roles in the war against the Milan tribe. Long Han acted as a commander, coordinating the Heavenly South cultivators in a life and death battle. His presence and command helped to stabilize the morale of the forces. Feng Bing directly participated in the battle. She joined forces with a rogue cultivator by Feng Yi to confront one of the four great divine masters of the Milan tribe, Tianzhong. The battle was an even match, demonstrating that her combat prowess was by no means ordinary. Long Han and Feng Bing are the ideal model of a Tao companion couple in the cultivation world. Not only do they share deep affection, but they can also supplement each other's strength, becoming a force that all enemies must be wary of. They are righteous leaders with great foresight who have made immense contributions to the Heavenly South. After the war with the Milan tribe ended, the role of the Drifting Cloud sect, which Han Li had joined, grew within the Heavenly Tao Alliance. The main plot gradually focused more on Han Li and larger events like Devilfall Valley. Consequently, the couple Long Han and Feng Bing slowly faded into the background and no longer appeared in later plotlines. Their subsequent fate is not mentioned in the story. In summary, Long Han and Feng Bing are the most powerful cultivator couple in the Heavenly South and the leaders of the Heavenly Tao Alliance. Their greatest strength comes from their joint attack ability, which can stand against a late-nascent soul stage cultivator, allowing the Heavenly Tao Alliance to maintain its position. Top 3. Exalted Zenith Yang. Exalted Zenith Yang is an incredibly important character, one of the pillars of the Heavenly South's cultivation world, and has many deep connections with Han Li. Exalted Zenith Yang is a grand elder of the Supreme Unity sect, and at the same time, the leader and cornerstone of the Righteous Tao Alliance, one of the four great powers in the Heavenly South. He is considered the leader of the Righteous faction. Cultivation level, late nascent soul stage. He is one of the three grand cultivators of the Heavenly South, along with Old Devil Hawan, Demonic Tao, and Wei Wuya Nine Nations Alliance. These were the three most powerful cultivators, standing at the apex of the entire Heavenly South region at that time. He cultivates a righteous path technique, called the Pure Heart Art. This is a cultivation art filled with noble righteous energy, possessing a strong ability to suppress demonic techniques and evil auras. His magic treasures include Gung Gold, an extremely rare material for artifact refinement, possessing incredible hardness and sharpness. He once used it to trade with Han Li for some demon beast materials. Profound Heaven Immortal Vine Root. He possessed a section of Profound Heaven treasure, the Profound Heaven Immortal Vine. This is an immortal realm-level treasure of immense value. He used a piece of its root to trade with Han Li for the Heaven Flipping Seal. In addition, he also possessed the Three Flames Fan. This is one of the most famous heaven-reaching spirit treasures in the mortal realm, with terrifyingly immense power. Exalted Zenith Yang had a deep but unfinished love affair with a female rogue cultivator, Bai Fengyi. They were once Tao companions, but separated for an unknown reason. Despite this, he always quietly cared for and protected her, showing that he was a person who valued relationships and loyalty. Exalted Zenith Yang always stood at the forefront of every major event in the Heavenly South. Milan Tribe War. He was one of the leaders of the Heavenly South cultivator faction against the invasion of the Milan Spell Warriors. He directly fought against the Milan Divine Master Dalenba, and their battle was an even match. When the ancient demon Blood Fiend escaped from the sealed Devilfall Valley and began to slaughter cultivators, it was Exalted Zenith Yang, along with the other two grand cultivators, who stepped up to summon the masters from all over the heavenly south. They set up a grand formation in the state of Feng, due to besiege and kill the ancient demon. After a great battle of 3 days and nights, they succeeded in heavily wounding the Blood Fiend, forcing it to flee. After the Blood Fiend destroyed the ancient grand formation, causing demonic chi from the demon realm to leak, Exalted Zenith Yang learned that Han Li possessed the spirit-warding divine lightning, the nemesis of demonic chi. Disregarding his status, he personally went to the state of Shi to invite Han Li to help reinforce the seal, showing that he was a person who knew how to prioritize the greater good. The relationship between Exalted Zenith Yang and Han Li evolved from trade and cooperation to confrontation, and finally, to mutual recognition. The two had several important exchanges of treasures, which were mutually beneficial. They worked together to reinforce the demonic chi seal at the Boundless Sea. After Han Li also advanced to the late nascent soul stage, becoming the 4th grand cultivator of the heavenly south, Exalted Zenith Yang went to the Drifting Clouds sect to challenge him. His purpose was to test Han Li's true strength, and also to satisfy his own desire to compare skills with a peer. In this battle, Exalted Zenith Yang was defeated by Han Li. However, he lost in an honorable and open manner, and fully acknowledged Han Li's strength. After his defeat by Han Li, Exalted Zenith Yang realized that his own cultivation path still had shortcomings. He returned to his sect and announced he would enter life or death seclusion to devote all his efforts to breaking through to the spirit transformation stage. Unfortunately, breaking through to the spirit transformation stage is an incredibly difficult barrier to overcome in the mortal realm. In the end, Exalted Zenith Yang failed his breakthrough attempt and passed away due to the end of his lifespan. While in seclusion, his death was a great loss for both the Righteous Tao Alliance and the entire cultivation world of the Heavenly South. Exalted Zenith Yang is a typical righteous character, upright, powerful, and always shouldering the responsibility for the world. He possessed both the authority of a great power and deep personal emotions, making his character very vivid and beloved by many readers. Top 2. Old Devil Juan. Old Devil Juan is one of the most powerful and memorable antagonists of the Heavenly South arc. He is the Grand Elder of the Joyful Union sect, and at the same time, the de facto leader of the entire 6 demonic sects in the Heavenly South. He is considered the sovereign of the demonic Tao faction. Cultivation level, late nascent soul stage. Old Devil Juan is one of the 3 grand cultivators of the Heavenly South, alongside Exalted Zenith Yang, Righteous Tao, and Wei Wuya 9 Nations Alliance. These were the 3 most powerful cultivators, standing at the pinnacle of power in the entire Heavenly South region. What's particularly special is that Old Devil Juan does not practice the art of plundering yin and yang or dual cultivation like other disciples of the Joyful Union sect. He specializes in an extremely domineering and wicked demonic art. The specific name of this technique is not mentioned, but it is described as incredibly formidable, granting him astonishing combat strength. Old Devil Juan is the embodiment of treachery, cruelty, dominance, and utter unscrupulousness. He always acts in his own self-interest, ready to sacrifice anyone, including his own junior brother, Yun Lu. He is a cautious individual, but once he decides to act, he is extremely decisive and ruthless. With his junior brother, Yun Lu, he always viewed his junior brother, Yun Lu, who possesses an yin-yang body, as a spare cultivation cauldron or a useful pawn. During the Great War with the Milan tribe, he did not hesitate to use tricks to force Yun Lu into a life-or-death battle, nearly sending his junior brother to his death. The relationship between Old Devil Juan and Han Li is one of deep-seated hostility. He first took notice of Han Li because Han Li had rescued Yun Lu, thwarting his plans. The feud became irreconcilable when Han Li killed a nascent soul stage disciple whom he highly valued, while also sabotaging many of the demonic Tao's plans. He issued orders to hunt down and kill Han Li on numerous occasions. Old Devil Juan always played a crucial role in the major events of the Heavenly South. Milan Tribe War. He was one of the 3 supreme leaders of the Heavenly South cultivator faction. He directly fought against the sect master of the Yin-sifting sect from the Great Gene, another late nascent soul stage master, and their battle was an even match. When the ancient demon Blood Fiend spread terror, Old Devil Juan, along with Exalted Zenith Yang and Wei Wuya, set aside their differences and took the lead in summoning the masters of the Heavenly South to set up a formation to besiege and kill the ancient demon, succeeding in heavily wounding it. This shows that he could also distinguish priorities, placing the greater good above personal vendettas when necessary. 5. The fateful showdown with Han Li and the final outcome. This was a peak, and also the final chapter, of Old Devil Juan's dominance. After Han Li advanced to the late nascent soul stage, becoming the 4th grand cultivator, Old Devil Juan felt severely threatened. He allied with Wei Wuya to deal with Han Li together. In the 3-way battle, despite the 2 of them joining forces, they were still soundly defeated by Han Li, whose strength at this point had far surpassed that of an ordinary late-stage cultivator. Unwilling to accept defeat, he even secretly plotted to harm Han Li after the battle, but was discovered and thwarted by the heavenly Azure Beast, the incarnation of Silver Moon. After the complete defeat at Han Li's hands, old Devil Huan realized a gap in their strength was insurmountable. He returned to his sect and announced he would enter life or death seclusion in the hope of breaking through to the spirit transformation stage. However, just like Exalted Zenith Yang and Wei Wuya, he ultimately failed to break through and passed away during his seclusion. Old Devil Huan is a very successfully developed antagonist. He embodies all the elements of a top-tier demonic lord: absolute power, ruthlessness, cunning, and bottomless ambition. He was Han Li's greatest and most dangerous adversary throughout the Heavenly South arc, and his downfall also marked Han Li's official rise to become the #1 figure in the entire region. Top 1. Wei Wuya. He is the leader of the Nine Nations Alliance, one of the 4 great powers of the Heavenly South. Although the Nine Nations Alliance was not as strong as the other 3 powers, Wei Wuya's position was unshakable. He was one of the 3 grand cultivators of the Heavenly South, alongside Exalted Zenith Yang, Righteous Dao, and Old Devil Huan, Demonic Dao. He was considered the #1 master of the Heavenly South for a long time before Han Li's breakthrough. Wei Wuya specialized in cultivating extremely formidable poison techniques. His entire body contained lethal poison, and he could use poisonous chi to attack his enemies. His spiritual abilities related to the art of poison had reached a transcendent level, striking fear into all cultivators. Similar to Exalted Zenith Yang, he also possessed Gung Gold, a rare divine material. He once used it to trade for the scales of a level 8 poison flood dragon with Han Li. The Myriad Poisons Pearl, a treasure ore containing 10,000 types of toxins, was one of his main offensive magic treasures. In contrast to his heretical cultivation techniques, Wei Wuya possessed a respectable character. He was an honorable and magnanimous man who kept his word. Despite an initial conflict with Han Li, he never resorted to despicable means and always conducted himself with the dignity of a great master. When he learned that his grandnephew, Wei Lisen, had failed in his attempt to win the hand of his Dao companion, Nan Gongwan, from Han Li, he not only did not make things difficult, but also admonished his nephew and treated Han Li with great courtesy. He always placed the safety of the Heavenly South as his top priority. In every major crisis, he was the most active in uniting the various powers to resist foreign invasions. The relationship between Wei Wuya and Han Li evolved from a minor conflict to mutual respect and admiration. His grandnephew, Wei Lisen, wanted to marry Nan Gongwan, but she was already Han Li's Dao companion. This created the initial conflict between the two. Wei Wuya handled this matter with great skill and integrity, earning Han Li's deep respect. The two once traded Gung Gold for scales of a poison flood dragon in a fair transaction. In Devilfall Valley, he single-handedly fought a soul fragment of the ancient demon, the Blood Fiend, and was severely injured, showcasing his bravery and sense of responsibility. After Han Li advanced to the late nascent soul stage, Wei Wuya took the initiative to seek him out for a duel. Unlike old Devil Huan, who allied with others to eliminate him, his purpose was simply to test the strength of the younger generation and acknowledge the new #1 master. After his defeat, he was thoroughly impressed and sincerely congratulated Han Li. Milan Tribe War. He was one of the 3 supreme leaders and played a crucial role in unifying the cultivator forces of the Heavenly South. It was he who gifted a treasure to Zenith's soul to persuade the latter to join the war. He was one of the 3 initiators and a main force in the battle to besiege and kill the ancient demon Blood Fiend in the state of Fengdu, contributing greatly to heavily wounding the demon. After dueling with and being defeated by Han Li, Wei Wuya realized his era had passed. Like the other 2 grand cultivators, he chose to enter life or death seclusion to seek an opportunity to break through to the spirit transformation stage. Similar to Exalted Zenith Yang and Old Devil Huan, the path to spirit transformation was too distant. In the end, Wei Wuya failed his breakthrough attempt and passed away during seclusion. Han Li happened to hear this news just before he was preparing to ascend to the spirit realm. Wei Wuya is a character with great depth who leaves behind a sense of regret. He is the epitome of a true gentleman, despite cultivating poison arts. Upright, magnanimous, responsible, and possessing a dignified bearing. He won the favor of not only Han Li, but also a great number of readers. His death, caused by his inability to break through to a higher realm, also represents the cruel reality of the path of cultivation. And that is the entire content for this list. If there are any characters that were missed, please feel free, fellow Taoists, to add them in the comments section. I put a lot of effort into making this video so that you would be satisfied with both the content and the visuals, right? If so, please don't hesitate to give 1991 Review a like and subscribe to the channel. Goodbye, and see you all in the next episode.